With the carousel component, we can create carousels and sliders. We can, for example, create an image carousel with various amounts of images being visible at a time. We can also create full width sliders with indicators, and we can even create content carousels using various HTML content instead of only images. First, we see the basic version of the carousel. We have 5 different carousel items here that can be cycled through indefinitely. So there's no end here. We can slide both ways as well. We also define how many items should be visible at once. Here it's only 3 visible items at once. We can set the carousel not to wrap, which means it will only go to the final end here. There's 5 carousel items, so it won't wrap and you cannot continue like you could in the previous examples. We can turn this carousel into a full width slider as well, which we see right here, where I can drag in each side of it. We can add indicators so we can change between them if we want to. We can also have a content carousel, so instead of images like we saw above here, this simply has text content on a gray background. We can also add a fixed item here as a button that is displayed on top of all the items. Let's see how we build all of this. First, we'll create the basic carousel. So we have a div tag class carousel, and we give it the ID carousel basic, so we can hook it up with JavaScript in a moment. Then we'll add an anchor tag with the class carousel item. We'll now add an image inside of it, and that image will be 250 times 250 red.png. We'll close our anchor tag again, and we'll copy this a few times and change these images to the pink one, purple one, indigo one, and the blue one. Now we must initialize this with JavaScript down here in the bottom. So first we'll create a variable called basic to get the element, get element by ID, carousel basic is the ID, and then create a variable called instance basic to initialize this using m.carousel.init and pass in the element like so. Let's save this, go back into the browser, select the right tab and refresh. Since the images are missing, let's go back and see what's wrong. Yes, we forgot to specify the img folder. Let's go back again and refresh. Here we have our basic carousel. We can drag to either side and it will continue indefinitely. We can see 5 items being visible at a time, which is all of our items currently. Let's change the number of visible items. So we go back here, copy and paste this example, change the ID to carousel num visible, scroll down here, copy and paste this code and update this value to num visible. Now we will also pass in an option here, which will be num visible 3. So now only 3 of the items will be visible at once. Let's go back and refresh, and here we see the result, only 3 visible items at once. Let's see how we can make this not wrap. So back here we copy the code again, change the ID to carousel no wrap, copy paste this JavaScript code here and update these values to lm no wrap and instance no wrap. And this time the options will be no wrap with the value true. Let's save this, go back and refresh. And now we can see that we can drag all the way to the last item, but not any longer. It won't repeat the first ones again. So this is an example of a carousel with no wrap. We can turn this carousel into a full width slider. So let's see how we do that. We go back here and copy paste our code for the slider. And this time we must change the ID. We'll call it carousel slider, but we must also add a class which is carousel slider. This will make it a full width slider. We scroll a bit down, copy paste this code, update these values to slider, and now the options will be full width true. Let's save this, go back and refresh. Now we see that we have our full width slider. Something is a little wrong because we forgot to change the images. Sorry about that. Let's scroll a bit back up and change these images to 800 times 400. Save, go back again and refresh. Now it looks better. We now have the full width slider where we can drag in either side of them. All right, we can add indicators, so let's do that. We'll copy this code block here, update the ID to carousel indicators, like so. Scroll down here, copy paste this and update the values to lm indicators. We'll keep the full width setting and add the setting indicators, like so, with the value true. Let's go back and refresh. Now we can see that we have these indicators, which we can use to navigate between the items and to see which item we are currently on. We can also use content instead of just images. So let's see how we do that. We'll copy this code again, paste it in, change the ID to carousel content. Now we'll remove these content here and we'll add the div tag with the class carousel item like before, and this time we'll add the gray background color and white text color by adding the color classes gray and white text. Inside of this we'll add an h2 heading element with the text first panel and then a paragraph, and I'll just grab the text from the reference section here, scroll a bit down, grab this random text and paste it in the paragraph. Now let's copy and paste this a few times, change this heading text to second panel and third panel. Now let's initialize this. We copy paste this code, update the values again to lm content, and we'll keep the full width and the indicators. So the JavaScript hasn't changed, only the content inside here of our carousel. Let's go back and refresh. And whoops, we forgot to add the center class. We want this to be center aligned. So we add this class center, and now all the text children items here will be center aligned, like so. This is a content carousel. Let's see how we can add a fixed item on top of this carousel that will stay in the same place even though we slide between different items. We'll copy and paste this code here. And now, before all of our items, we'll add a div tag with the class carousel fixed item. And this will be an anchor tag. It could be anything. We'll style it as a button using the classes btn. White background with the class white and black text with the class black text. We'll add the text button and close the anchor tag again. Let's initialize this, our final example. Change these values to fixed item, and we'll still have the full width and indicators be true. We'll save, go back and refresh. Now something is wrong. Let's see what we forgot. We forgot to change the value of our ID to carousel fixed item, like so, which is what we're using down here as well. Let's go back and refresh. Now we see that we have our carousel or our slider here with the fixed item being our button, or link styled as a button. So this was all the different ways in which you can use the carousel component.